Petroleum refining.
The US has rescinded visa restriction it placed on Ghana passport holders earlier this year.
Just in, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, on this day, let me be the first to break this great news from the motherland Ghana to each and every one of us. It is no longer news that the government of Ghana recently announced that amidst the initial or the previous ban for 3 months for all Ghanaians, African citizens, just for 3 months entering into the United States of America, currently, due to the recent visit of the president and his minister, it is announced that all Ghanaians can now travel for 5 years visa or with 5 years visa into the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode. And this is a very interesting, very, very, very exciting news to hear. As a Nigerian, I'm wondering, is this not wonderful? Is this not amazing? So I'm going to let us watch this video. As well, the video I posted, about the president having his face on the stock exchange market billboard. Some people were even saying it was photoshopped, but I'm going to give you a proof and evidence, live and direct, how the president was displayed alongside this billboard right there in the United States of America, New York City. Yes, you're going to see every details of how this information of this visa came about, and as well, most importantly, the golden speech of the president that has broken the internet, that has made the whole world today as we speak believe that the president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Sir John Dramani Mahama, is actually doing a good job. He is a representative of not just Ghana, not just West Africa, but the continent of Africa. Indeed, this is a replica of Sir Dr. Sajefu Kwame Nkrumah the late. Guys, this episode is loaded. So I need you, first of all, to like this video for me to encourage the ambassador. Yes, Oshe Bades. Share this video and stay subscribed. And at the end of the day, I will see you at the end where I'm going to deliberate further. Let's take a look at these videos.
No, there's come up in a few seconds.
It's going to come up in a few seconds.
All right, I'm going to have you standing right here. This one. All right.
Sorry, once again. Hey, the guy in red. Move. Alright, there we go. Whoa.
Right here.
Capture.
Yeah,
you see, no, say you try to see. That's the opening for business. Oh, yeah. Capture. Yeah, Ghana is open for business.
Did you want to do a team photo?
Yeah, let's do a team photo. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, President of Ghana.
It's a pleasure to welcome you all here to this event by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and NASDAQ with His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana for Business, according to the NASDAQ sign. And I think you'll hear around the room a number of companies that are the 6th President of the 4th Republic of Ghana. Mr. President, champions of the U.S. business community here in your economic development, and we're excited at the prospect of working with your administration to strengthen trade and investment between our two countries. It's the largest American business organization representing the interests of 3 million companies of all sectors and sizes, and a strategic position in West Africa. Ghana's leadership as host of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat. That's the reason why you see us from the U.S. Chamber.
We have bauxite, we have lithium, recently we discovered nickel, and some other rare earth minerals, and so that there are opportunities in that area. There are several foreign companies working in that space, Goldfields Ghana, Newmont, and several of them all doing business successfully in Ghana. But there are also medium to small scale Ghanaian companies in the sector. We also have the oil and gas sector. The upstream, we started oil and gas production in 2010, and since then there had been a decline because over the last 8 years there were several disagreements between government and several of the companies operating in the oil and gas space, upstream space. He and I had litigation with a small company, and government didn't handle it well, so he and I moved their headquarters to Cote d'Ivoire and withdrew all the investment. I'm happy to say Ghana is open for business in the upstream sector. And so he and I, we have an American company, Cosmos, who are partners with Taro in the Jubilee field. And they committed to invest another $2 billion to raise the production of the Jubilee and 10 field. He and I has the Sankofa prospect, and they're producing oil and gas from there. And then we're using much of the gas that we're receiving to produce power for electricity. So that's good. There's space for investment in the downstream sector in terms of petroleum storage, in terms of petroleum refining.
The US has rescinded visa restriction it placed on Ghana passport holders earlier this year. Today is September 26, 2025, and Ghana's Foreign Minister Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa shared this exciting news on his X account. And I know a lot of Ghanaians are going to wake up on Saturday morning to this exciting news because it's 6 p.m. here in Texas, USA, where I stay. My name is Tenebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer. And on this platform, I share intellectual conversations around Ghana's foreign policy and economy. Because it's breaking news, I would be referring to my laptop a lot, so I'll not be looking into the camera as much as I normally do. So this is the tweet Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa shared. Big win for Ghana. The US visa restriction imposed on Ghana have been reversed. Ghanaians can now be eligible for 5-year multiple entry visas and other enhanced consular privileges. So if you don't remember, on July 9th, 2025, the US put restrictions on Ghana passport holders. And the restriction was that most Ghana passport holders were going to be only eligible for 3 months visas with single entry. So if you're a Ghanaian and you go to the US embassy and you are given a visa, it's going to be for only 3 months, and you can only enter the US once within that 3 months. And that was putting undue hardship on Ghanaians who have to go to US for whatever business. Whether you are a Ghanaian student who have to go to the US and study for maybe 5 years, and within that 5 years, you may not be able to return to Ghana because you need to be able to renew your visa anytime you return to Ghana. If you're a Ghanaian businessman who does business in the US, and you have to go to the US every 2 weeks or something, it will be very difficult for you. So it was something that was undue hardship. And so that is going to be reversed according to the tweet Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa shared. He goes on to say, this good news was directly communicated to me by US Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Alison Hooker, at the bilateral meeting earlier today in the margins of the UN General Assembly.
How's it been? Busy week.
Yes, it has been. How's your week been? It's okay. No, it's great. I'm just really thankful we could have this time together. It's been a while since we spoke on the phone, but then also got to meet you. Since we met, I know just on, we can go through whatever you'd like to as well, but just want to make sure I hit a couple of highlights.
The family photo, okay.
Oh, family photo. Just want to make sure I hit a couple of highlights.
So if you don't know this, I've shared a few videos on it. The US is, the headquarters of the UN. And the UN General Assembly is happening right now. That means world leaders are meeting in New York, US for the UN General Assembly ongoing right now. I think today, Friday, is the last day of the UN General Assembly. The president of Ghana spoke yesterday. The president of the US spoke on Tuesday. But according to this tweet, Ghana and the US had a side meeting, a sidebar within the General Assembly. So it happens all the time where, so the US president, for example, Donald Trump had a side meeting with the president of Ukraine this week. So usually because presidents from different countries are coming to the US to meet, countries arrange to have their own side meetings. It's like you are going to a conference. The conference is 3 days conference. And every day the conference starts from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. Before 8 p.m. and after 6 p.m., you are free to do whatever you want to do. So that's when those bilateral meetings happens. And according to Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa, he had a bilateral meeting with the Undersecretary of State in the US. So Undersecretary in the US is like a deputy minister. So Okudzeto had a meeting with the deputy foreign minister of the US. And the deputy foreign minister told him this. I am really pleased that months of high-level diplomatic negotiations have led to a successful outcome. So it's been months since this announcement was made, and actually, I thought it was going to get worse because in August, the US State Department announced global visa restrictions on countries who have doctors from Cuba. So in the 90s, right? If you were born in the 90s or grew up in the 90s or know anybody who used to live in Ghana in the 90s, there were a lot of what we used to call white doctors in Ghana. And the white doctors we had in Ghana were Cuban doctors. So at this point, Ghana didn't have a lot of people going to medical school. We didn't have like a lot of nurses. Today, we have abundance of doctors and nurses in Ghana. We even export nurses and doctors to other countries. But in the 90s, we did not. So Ghana used to import doctors from Cuba. And let me share this because it's related to this. Actually, the first sitting US president to visit Ghana was Bill Clinton in 1998. And one of the reasons Bill Clinton visited Ghana was because the president of Ghana, President Rawlings, hosted the president of Cuba, Fidel Castro, in Ghana. So usually, the US and Cuba have beef. Let me just put it that way. So you either take the side of the US or you take the side of Cuba. But Ghana and Cuba have our own relationship. Ghana and the US have a different relationship. So it's like the two of you have beef. I don't have beef with the two of you. Sort your own beef at your own time. Doesn't include me, right? And the current Trump administration is taking the harder stance on countries who have relationships with Cuba. And actually, it's a departure from something that President Obama did. President Obama actually opened relationships with Cuba. So Trump is reversing that and putting restrictions on countries. But luckily for Ghana, Ghana no longer have doctors from Cuba working in Ghana. I don't think so. But the fact that the global visa restriction was announced after the restriction on Ghana was announced means that it was going to be hard for Ghana to get under or get away from the restrictions, right? This was in August. And on September 6, Victor Smith, the former aide to former President Rawlings, was appointed Ghana's ambassador and he received his credentials on September 6th. So he moved to the US to become Ghana's ambassador to the US. And this is important because Victor Smith is a very connected man, both in the US and the UK and Ghana. Because when it comes to this level of diplomatic relationship, it's not really about what you are talking about. It's really about who you know. So having somebody like Victor Smith, who has been Ghana's ambassador to the UK before, who was a special aide to the president of Ghana before, who has been Ghana's ambassador to Czech Republic, means that Ghana is taking its relationship with the US very seriously. And so Victor Smith went to the US on September 6th, and on September 10th, the third-party deportation deal between Ghana and the US was announced. So Ghana agreed to receive West African nationals who are being deported from the US into Ghana. And the first batch arrived somewhere last week or last 2 weeks, right? And I believe that that was the beginning of the reversal of the relationship between Ghana and the US. And it's important that even after this restriction happened, President Mahama still had strong positions on his relationship with the US, right? And so, you know why we are here. Ghana sent people like Victor Smith to go and negotiate with the US. And the US told us what they wanted. We gave them what they wanted, and now we are getting what we want. Because if you don't remember, Sam Okujeto-Ablakwa said Ghana did not take money from the US to receive those deportees. So if we did not take money from them, what did we take? Now it is possible. This is what we get for that. And he went on to say, it will be recalled that the US imposed visa restrictions on Ghana, blah, blah, blah. So he went on to explain what happened in July. So basically, I'm saying this to say, now, if you're a Ghanaian passport holder going to apply for US visa and you meet the terms, 5 years visa is a possibility for you. Multiple entries. So that is good news for Ghanaians who do business with the US, Ghanaians who are schooling in the US, or all Ghanaians, you know. And so I just thought that I should share this news with you and break down the timeline of how things happen based on the tweet by the former
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920 at the end of the First World War. Out of the 42 founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 40 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy, and our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle-style sleep. Now, no, that was only after 8 years. Imagine then what it would be like after 80 years since the founding of the United Nations. In 1945, the sun had not yet set on the largest empire in history. The most common mode of international travel was by sea. The personal computer had not been invented, let alone made portable. And television, a new convenience, was still in its infancy, albeit in black and white color. Relations between the US and the Soviet Union were turning frosty, with Winston Churchill declaring that an iron curtain has descended across the European continent. Fast track 80 years on, in today's world, hundreds of thousands of commercial flights take off and land every day. Libraries have been digitized so that volumes of literature can exist on a small device small enough to fit inside your pocket. We live in a world of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, social media, the internet and its dark hidden dungeon of the dark web, all of which carry a potential threat to global peace and security. Climate change is real, and we're fighting a losing battle against the loss of Maldives and other island nations to the rising sea level, against the loss of Timbuktu to desertification and the Amazon forest to global warming and deforestation. Madam President, the UN Founding Charter is outdated when it comes to representation in this August Assembly. The most powerful post-World War II nations are still being rewarded with an almost totalitarian guardianship over the rest of the world. And yet, the first sentence in Chapter 2, Article 1 of the UN Charter declares that the organization is based on the principle of sovereign equality of all its members. If this were true, and was the case, a continent as large as Africa, with its numerous UN member states, would have at least one permanent seat on the Security Council. Furthermore, we believe that veto power should not be restricted to only 5 nations, nor should it be absolute. There must be a mechanism in this House for the General Assembly to challenge a veto. No single nation should be able to exercise an absolute veto to serve its own interests in a dispute. In 1995, during the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, Nelson Mandela stood in this very spot, and he said, "The United Nations has to reassess its role, redefine its profile, and reshape its structures. It should truly reflect the diversity of our universe and ensure equity among the nations in the exercise of power within the system of international relations in general, and the Security Council in particular." I close quotations.
All right, welcome back, Charlie. You see, when they were snapping the president alongside the billboard, I was just like, people should show me up, let me see. And when I saw it, I said, oh, so I wasn't wrong. It wasn't Photoshop. Like, really, can people just be in this disbelief that the president of Ghana cannot, come up with something meaningful? It is, I was really shocked too. Anyways, I am happy that indeed it is what it is, that the president of Ghana has broken this record of having his face again, I repeat, on that billboard, because you don't know what it means. If you know what it means, you will appreciate good things. See, I'm not a hater. I'm not a jealous person. All I hate is what? Crime, evil, and corruption. But no matter whom you are, when you are winning, I'm happy, because I know everybody's grace is different. It will reach everybody. I celebrate those genuinely who are winning. I genuinely celebrate them. I genuinely announce them. And that's why I'm here today doing this. See, it doesn't matter any country. Once you are doing the right thing and you're winning, leave it. Now, moving on, you will see how it's been broken down, how Ghana came about with this whole negotiation and upliftment of this ban that was initially reduced to 3 months to currently now freaking 5 years. 5 years visa. Oh, where are all the Ghanaians in the building? Massive congratulations to you guys. Massive congratulations. This is a big win. See, I know it's not really something that you say. For me, it's a big deal, because just the fact that you as a people and as a country and the president as a leader with his team can achieve this is a big deal. Can you tell me how many countries can easily go to US, negotiate this whole thing and come out successfully and announce it to the public? Why did Nigeria do it? Where is Nigeria in the picture? I always call Nigeria because, you see, I am learning a lot from Ghanaians and Ghana as a country and as a people. You see, and this will be a big shock to Nigerians, that even their self-acclaimed title leaders, whatever, could not, achieve this for them. But the president and his team went to Ghana just a few days ago, and all these are happening. Do you even know the honor it means for a president as yours to be placed on that billboard? That is the height of it all. The level, a great level that so many countries cannot achieve. I'm telling you, in the continent of Africa. Now, do you know where this whole thing has amounted to what it is today? Let me show you. You see that speech of the president? That speech was not an ordinary speech. It is a speech that embodied courage, vision, greatness. A speech that could open doors, that can open doors. A speech that can break mountains. Like, he literally projected the entire Africa. And if you have a president that is good with history. Now, guys, did you even see that? Unlike my own president, this man was not reading from a script. Nothing was scripted, man. Speaking from the intellectual brain box of his spirit, his soul, his body, and his mind. Everything was in connection with, in line with everything that was happening there. He was exposing history to everyone present, the dignities, the bodies, the leaders from cut across the world, United Nations. Do you know what that means? All the countries, leaders, there present. The president boldly stood firm with courage and was breaking down all this. It was quite a lengthy one. I couldn't even put all here because of time constraint. But ladies and gentlemen, permit me once again to appreciate the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency, Sir John Dramani Mahama. I wish this was my president. In fact, he is my president. I can't be wishing he's my president. He's already my president. I've told you we don't have a president in Nigeria. What we have is illegitimate leaders that force themselves on us. The one we wanted, they did not give us. They chased them away and forced themselves on us. Me, I am even taking corner now. I'm patching up with you people with this your leader. I'm patching up. Let me make it clear now, because even while I'm in Nigeria, nothing concern Nigeria again. Now Ghana, I'm telling you now. So as long as this is the winning team, I have joined there. Say no, bye-bye to Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, even though I've not reached there, I am standing by the corner, tapping from you people. Because you know why? I want all these things to be seen by them. That is why I'm bringing it open. Let the world see. See Ghana that they call Ghana, small Ghana, ordinary Ghana. Is this not a country, a great country that God is, taking to the highest level today? The president might not be a perfect person, but I believe God is using him to take the motherland Ghana to the permanent site, to the Canaan land. This is just the beginning. It will get to the point that before the expiration of his tenure, I've always told the people from the beginning, forget all this rubbish Nigerians are doing. That's why I'm there to handle them. But I've always told you, if you are following on this channel, that the country Ghana and the leadership of this president is going to shake the world. It's going to shake the world. I'm telling you, this is not me yapping. I said Ghana is going global, and Ghana is completely taking over the world. By the time we are done and dusted, I repeat for the 100th times, by the time we are done and dusted, some of you will come back again and say, Chivik, are you a prophetess? I'm not a prophetess. I'm just a bearer of good news and great news from the throne of God, right? Exactly. So this is how I say, let me bring it. Look at the speech of the president. Look at the president. Oh my God. Look at the minister. Let's even appreciate the minister for this good news too. He has tweeted on Twitter. And the very young man who has broken this down, I want to appreciate him. I will see if I can leave his channel link. He's a Ghanaian based in the US. You see, they're giving us hot, premium, correct information. God bless each and every one of you. God bless the motherland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Oshe Bades. Exactly. This is what we have for today. You see, I'm happy today. I'm very happy. Nigerians did not come to make me angry. Please, if you've watched up till now, I want to say a massive thank you. Like this video, share, and stay subscribed. Share, even to your haters. Share. Those people that say it was Photoshop. Share to everybody. Share, because this is what sharing. And stay subscribed if you like it on here. Videos like this, interesting ones. See, we do it in every way, every shape, every form, based on how the reaction comes. So today, it is all excitement, jubilation, and happiness. So Ghanaians, go and pop some champagne. You are free to go to US and stay forever. Don't stay forever. Stay and come back to the motherland. I trust you. I will see you in my next one. Ciao, ciao.